Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Jodo Cast, your Star Wars gaming podcast. This is episode 90. Oh my gosh, we're getting up there. My name is Evan Lewis. I'm, of course, joined by Leo Andry.
You are.
And Joe Latovsky.
Affirmative.
And I think this is the first time we've all been together in the better part of like 2 months? Something like that?
Affirmative.
That is the big stack of magnets.
Negative.
Is that how the kids say yes these days? Like, that's a big stack of magnets. Ghost Rider. Negative.
Bro,
Ghost
do you
Rider.
see that Captain Marvel trailer? Yeah, that's a big stack of magnets.
All right, we're making this happen. Everybody get on Twitter, hashtag big stack of magnets. Let's get that trending. It'll never happen. If it does, I don't know. I don't know what we would do. We'd make some sort of big vaunted promises that we'd never follow through on. That's what we do.
Yeah, we do that already, though. So
we do that. But you know who we have a very good relationship with are the patrons at patreon.com/theJodo
stack of magnets.
They're the biggest stack of magnets you've ever seen. And we appreciate their magnetism like you wouldn't believe. They hold us together with their magnetism. That's really getting old. That's not
I was
really
going to say, you're starting to stretch this one a little thin.
Yes, I am.
I don't know what you're talking about magnetism for. That's not even anywhere close to what the kids are saying.
Isn't it? Is that not what the kids say? Have we already gone past that? I guess we've gone past it. But I don't know. Our patrons tell us what we should be saying. So patrons, you can have a say in the future of this show, and we appreciate you for doing so. We love every one of you, and if people are wondering, what the hell are you talking about? What?
I said, but especially you.
Oh, yeah. You
listener.
listening? That's right. Oh, listener mine. We think you're the best. And if you want to know what the heck we're talking about, go over to not JodoCast. Actually, no, do go to jodocast.com. Follow the link from there to get to the Patreon, and you can see how much our patrons help us and the various ways that we say thank you to them. While you're at jodocast.com, you can follow links to all the social media sites, most especially Discord, where you can talk with us and other listeners all day, every day.
You know what else they can follow a link to from there?
Oh, say what? Huh?
I said, you know what else they can follow a link to from that site?
I think you'll tell us.
The army builder for Legion.
Hey-oh, that's right. We mentioned it last time, and yes, Legion Army Builder. Proprietary, artisanally crafted, locally sourced Legion Army Builder by Leo.
I use it. I endorse it.
There you go. What else do you need?
It's a big stack of magnets.
I mean, magnets do get used in Legion.
How do they work, though?
It's not as if there's people who spend their entire lives studying it or anything. It's a great mystery. Also, if you look at the top of jodocast.com, you can find that Legion Builder, and right nearby you can find a feedback survey where you can tell us what you love, what you hate, what you want to see different. And if you're like, man, I love that Legion Builder, but what I really want is an X-Wing builder, or I really want an Imperial Assault builder, well, you can tell Leo, and he'll be like, look, I just got done building this Legion builder. I'm keeping it updated. What else do you want from me?
It's not even really done yet. There's still things to do, features to add.
Yeah, kind of like how PUBG was in beta for like years and years, and it's only just now ready. This is like the PUBG of Legion builders.
I don't like it anymore.
It's the Fortnite of Legion builders.
That didn't help.
It's the COD blackout of Legion builders.
I don't know what that is, so I guess I'll take your word for it that it's
the
something...
Overwatch of Legion builders.
So Leo spends a lot of time at it, but mostly just yells at it.
That sounds accurate.
It's fairly true, actually.
So yes, go on over, oh listener mine, you can tell what I've been playing, and check out jodocast.com and
Can
let
we
your
tell?
people who read the lore of Destiny could tell. That's about it.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'll take your word for it.
Any of the like the gear that is related to the dragons or the worms of Destiny, their lore always ends with like, "Oh bearer mine" or "Oh reader mine," and it's like the dragons are getting into your head. That's a thing. Anyways,
That seems
moving on.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
have
dragons
dragons
are
in
not
your
to be
head.
trusted.
Nor are they to be acclaimed for their writing ability.
The dragons? Yes.
Yeah. Guys, what if we all put this dumb shit at the end of everything we write? Won't it seem all mysterious and cool? Bet nerds will love it. And then all the other dragons are like, yeah, let's do it. As a society, let's agree that this is how we sign off.
Yeah, and it's
Also,
creepy.
like, just so we get it ingrained, we got to do it, like, not just in our writing. Like, when we're on the phone, you know, we don't say bye anymore. Say, farewell, listener mine, and then you hang up. Is that it?
Is that consistent with the lore? Is that how it happened?
I'll have to check, but I think so. I don't think the dragons were big on phone calls. Mostly big on, invading your mind after you made a deal with them, or sticking a worm down your gullet.
I'm just picturing... Are these, like, just people who call themselves dragons or actual dragons?
I mean, they are actual dragons.
Okay, so I'm picturing somebody, like, one of them just, like, eating a plate of spaghetti. Goodbye, meatball of mine, and then he eats it and he, like, giggles to himself.
That's pretty much how Oryx became the Taken King, after eating a big plate of spaghetti.
So Destiny has like actual dragons in it?
I thought you said the lore was less pretentious than Halo. No, wait, that was somebody else. Never mind. Never mind, different topic. What are we talking about today?
What we've been playing. I've been playing Destiny. But I've been doing other stuff too, but I'll let you go first.
I've been playing Destiny,
Hey!
but the good one.
The one that we are
Forsaken. Yeah,
obligated to talk about here.
Yeah,
I
the one where you
suppose.
roll dice
Oh,
instead
yeah,
of
great.
roll for loot.
And you go, you captured my Lando, or something like that. Is that how that game works?
Yep, that's exactly how it works. With capturing cards and putting them under your objectives. Oh, wait. Never mind.
Although I need to figure out a new deck by Friday, because on Friday we're
Or
playing
else.
Trilogies format. I don't know what I'm going to do because I haven't bought enough white box stuff. So my Trilogies deck is going to suck.
You should get on that. How have you been doing in Destiny lately? Have you been winning every tournament you've been doing?
No.
No. Why not?
I mean, I would say I probably win about half my games. I'm happy with that amount.
All right.
That it? Just Destiny?
I've been painting Legion stuff. Haven't got a chance to play.
Nice.
On Tuesday we're starting up another set of League though, so that should be cool. I think I'm gonna try and talk to him to see if we can do some of the stuff from the actual kits. Like I think he has the stuff. Like I think he has the stuff from the kits, but I think he's planning on just doing a regular old 800 point, league and calling it good. Which, I mean, that's fun too, but I would also like to try out some of the scenarios that come with the OP kits. 'Cause you've got to play some of those, haven't you, Joe?
What we did a entanglement event one day, which is the 500 point thing on a 3x3, but only two of us showed up, so we just played each other twice, and it was really cool. But it would have been way cooler if there was more people. we've been using those prize kits for our Legion nights, and so I have gotten some of those tokens and cards and stuff. Because that's what I've been playing. I've been playing Legion and X-Wing miniatures game. Because I bought a core set and a Rebel Alliance conversion kit for X-Wing. I played in a tournament that Saturday. I used Lebo with 3PO and like a Y-Wing and a Rebel TIE Fighter, and I got dead last.
But you've got a fair amount of fairly serious players in your area, don't you?
In my defense, I did. They're like, yeah. I played the two players who were like my first match was against the guy who ended up going 4-0, and my second match was against the guy who lost to the guy who went 4-0. So it was I faced down the big dogs and lost. But I do. Yeah, so I played that, and then I played some Legion, and I won a $20 gift card, so I bought a Y-Wing for X-Wing, because it looks so much better than the old ones. But that's, yep, just that. I don't think I've played Imperial Assault since the last time I said I played Imperial Assault.
Well, speaking of Imperial Assault, I think I've painted maybe not quite half of the core already.
Nice.
I've gotten all the stormtroopers done, so that's 9 of those. The 3 officers, the 2 E-Web engineers, the 3 probe droids. Currently working on the 4 Trandoshans. They're taking a little while longer because I'm trying to make them all different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think next will be Royal Guard, because those will just take no time at all. I'm debating whether or not to try glazing them to get that really good blending effect that's suggested on the Sarastro video, or if I just want to get them done, knock them out, and not try to worry with that extra step.
For the Trandoshans?
No, for the Royal Guard.
Oh.
Because, I mean, they're just going to be the flat red with some brighter red highlights. And on the Sarastro video, he uses a glaze to blend them all together. But I'm just like, nah,
I didn't when I
got.
painted the ones that I painted up for Joe, I didn't bother with any glaze. I just painted them up red.
Do you guys use glazes frequently? I'm still just like, what's the real value in that?
I've never used one.
No?
I've used glazes for object source lighting stuff, and I've made, well, I don't know if you, like, there's not too much of a difference between a glaze and a wash when it comes down to
Except
some
you
of
don't want the
things you want.
glazes to settle too much.
Right, you kind of want the glaze to be on the top most parts. It's like the opposite of a wash, but it kind of works the same.
Yeah,
usually I don't know why you need that for the Royal Guards.
Yeah. On the Darth Vader video, when he uses the red glaze for, like you said, the optical source lighting on the cape, like that looks like, yes, that's really cool. I dig that.
No, it's
Unless
not.
you're Leo.
It's not? What?
No, it looks ugly.
So if you did Vader, you would just leave it with no source lighting at all?
Now,
Correct.
Technically, go watch episode 4, 5, or 6 and show me where there's any sort of red light casting onto Darth Vader's costume. It's not. But I think it looks cool anyways. Because
I think that lighting like that only looks cool if you're really good at it, okay? I mean, like, Sarastro does a pretty decent job. Still not my favorite, but it looks all right. But 90% of the Darth Vaders out there I've seen who have been painted up using that guide and have tried the lighting all look like turds, in my opinion.
I know mine would, so I'm not going to do it.
I think I am happy with the way mine turned out. I have a couple other characters where the OSL went way overboard, and I think it looks like shit. But I have some where I really like how it turned out, so it's.
I think it's a little bit I think it's a little bit easier to make it look okay on a color like black. There's some like your Gideon that you painted up the one time for the Santa Gideon, where you put like the red glow from the blaster bolts in his beard.
Mm-hmm.
I always think it just looks kind of like he's got a bloody beard.
Maybe he does.
It's possible. He eats stormtroopers. he had a taste of them on Endor, and he was just like hooked. But now you've got the acrylic tube on all of your lightsabers, right, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
So do you get any just sort of natural effect from that? No, nothing really?
I mean, they'll kind of light up if the light hits them, right? But it doesn't cast any, it doesn't like project light from it.
Yeah,
Well,
you would have to put a light source shining into the acrylic blade, like with an LED or something. That's the only way you could really do that.
All right. Well, I'm sure not doing that. And so I like I said, I'm about, I guess I could say I'm probably halfway through, because all I've got left are Heroes and Darth Vader, the Nexus, which at the end of the day probably won't be too bad unless Joe tells me otherwise, and the ATST. So I don't have a whole lot left to go. But in all that painting, I was looking at other war games and miniatures and painting and getting all hyped up about it. And I was finally like, you know what? I should at least get a core of Legion, so I know what we're talking about a bit better at least. So it's on the way.
Sweet. I remember when you were like, "I'll never play Legion, even if they force me to at gunpoint."
Yes, that's exactly what I said. That's a quote. I just didn't. I don't know. I didn't see anything like great about it, but it's. I'm more interested, I think, in the painting and the modeling and that whole experience than I am about, like, I can't wait to play with a bunch of rebel troopers.
Right. I honestly don't think I would really be that into it if I hadn't spent so much time painting my dudes.
Yeah, I think I'll get more attached to them through that process, but, like, the thought of buying a standalone expansion of just more rebel troopers, it's like, that's the most uninteresting thing I've ever heard.
I didn't.
No?
Nope.
Didn't, wait, what, buy another expansion of rebel troopers?
Correct.
I did.
Okay. The commandos, those seem much more interesting.
Yeah, I'm painting them right now. They're pretty neat.
My second box of commandos finally came in today.
Are you going to do anything different with them, or just still do like what we would expect you to do with them, color-wise,
I don't know.
scheme-wise?
Well, they're probably actually, most of them aren't like gonna be green. Like, I've been painting up my rebels so far with like kind of like a greenish blue to the uniforms they're wearing. So they'll probably still have like the greenish blue uniform, but then probably still have like the camo cape.
That sounds pretty good.
At least for one. I might paint one of them up with more of like a desert camo scheme. I don't know.
That would be cool. I do, because as I'm again looking at more wargaming stuff and looking at basing guys and different color schemes, I'm like, what if you, and we've had the same discussion, but I never had a horse in the race before. It's like, yeah, it's great to have woodland themed everything, but then what if I want to play on a snow themed thing or a desert themed thing?
Doesn't matter.
Before
I got into Legion, I was like, maybe I got to do like this really neutral, like gray dirt base that could be anywhere, and I made my guys based on Crate, which is one of the most visually unique locations, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't bother you when you play.
Okay. Well, okay, good to know, because that's one of the things I've been thinking about.
You pick the thing you want to look at.
Yeah. I mean, and I've been even not always making all my units even have, like, the same bases in one army.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'll have, like, for my Imperial army, I'll have some stormtroopers with grassy bases, but then I've got snow troopers with snow bases.
You don't even have to, like, make a terrain on the base if you don't want to.
Yeah, or you could just paint your bases black or gray or brown or whatever you feel like.
I mean, that's what I thought that I would do, because I was in that mindset of, I need it to be neutral, so I'll just make them Mechanicus standard gray across the board.
But honestly, like, basing is fun, I think.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Well, looks like those fancier bases are finally on the way, or at least they're upcoming.
Yeah,
I forgot about those. I didn't plan on getting any.
I've got a set of them pre-ordered because I've got a squad of Nova troopers that I want to put on those custom or on those, like, sort of like starship interior looking bases.
I do think those look pretty cool. I think those tread the line between a really fancy filigreed base and just the plain gray. It's relatively neutral, but it's still got some character to it.
I mean, and you can probably make those look really good really fast if you just paint them and then dry brush them with, like, a lighter color, like paint them gray, dry brush them light gray, maybe dry brush on some, like, metallic done.
You missed the null oil wash step.
Yeah.
It was implied. I think null oil is pretty much always implied. Although now I've moved on, I've got 4 different washes, and the Trandoshans are really getting a workout with those. So I could probably spend this whole episode talking about my adventures in painting, but I won't. We'll talk about some other miniatures. More specifically, the ones that just came out. X-Wing 2nd Edition has officially launched. And I guess just to get started, we can talk about what we got, the royal we, as opposed to me, because I haven't bought anything. I was planning to get a core, I think, at Gen Con, but that was going to be not worth the wait.
Yeah,
but,
we got bored waiting in line and gave up on that.
But my game store, the one that I go to multiple times a week now whenever I need a new paint, apparently, it had a lot on the shelves. I could have gotten pretty much anything that I wanted there, which struck me as a little surprising that they weren't just completely tapped out of stock already. So that's kind of it for me. What did you guys wind up getting?
I got a core and one Imperial conversion kit for the time being. I'm gonna pick up the other conversion kits eventually here. Right now, I think the Imperials is what I'm gonna focus on playing, though. Not because I think there's necessarily anything inherently better. I just I own a dozen TIE fighters, and that's what I want to fly. It's just some plain old TIE fighters. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to play some TIE swarms.
I think the old Imperial sculpts hold up a lot better than the old Rebel sculpts. So I bought a core set and the Rebel conversion kit, and I'm only going to focus on Rebels from here on out because I'm still getting Legion and Imperial Assault, and I can't afford to care about 2 other factions for X-Wing. Especially if my time and money is divided between these 3 games. But, like, the old Y-Wing sculpt compared to the new one is so bad.
Really?
Oh yeah, the new Y-Wing sculpt looks so much better.
Right? And I was like, I need to buy this, but I don't the only thing I need out of that box is the model, because I got everything I need in the conversion kit and I got my old Y-Wing, so I'm going to be irresponsible and not buy it. And then I won a gift card at Legion, so I got to buy it, which makes me happy. My next list is going to feature just a single Y-Wing and some X-Wings.
I guess that one specifically I hadn't even considered, because I guess I haven't gotten a good hands-on look at the new Y-Wing, but I've looked at my own plenty of times, and it looks fine. What is specifically
it looks
so great
fine.
It looks fine.
Yeah, but then you see the other one, and you're like, oh, that's fine. You know what I mean?
There are dinner jackets, and there are dinner jackets. This is the latter.
It has a modeled turret on it top, actually. The little astromech stands out a lot. It's like painted this chrome type color. It's a lot more detailed. I haven't actually held it side by side with one of the old ones, but it looks slightly bigger. It's chunkier. It looks like a Y-Wing.
Now that's a Y-Wing. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I would like to see, like, if when you two get around to it, like, put out an article with some comparison shots, if you've got the time and inclination to do so. I'm just very curious now. I mean, one of my questions for you was, how do the sculpts look? But hearing that they look so much better on specifically a ship that I wouldn't have even given a thought to, it's like, okay, so what's the deal?
Well, I don't think that they didn't redo the sculpts for all of the ships.
Are you sure? I looked side by side with the TIE fighter I got in the core set and one of the old ones, and they look slightly different. I thought they got new sculpts for all of them. I mean, it's barely noticeable because it's a TIE fighter. They got it pretty much right the first time, but I thought they did new sculpts for everything.
Well, maybe they did. Maybe I'm wrong. I know they only called out some, like, the Y-Wing, just because the Y-Wing has probably, like, the Y-Wing and the X-Wing are two of, like, the biggest differences in sculpts from the old... The
X-Wing, I think, looks the same. The only difference is the flappy wings.
It's mostly still the same, but, I mean, it's still a new sculpt compared to the old one by adding in the flappy wings.
The flappy wing. That's how they should have referred to them in the films. Lock flappy wings into attack position.
It's not?
I think that was in the original version, and then in the special edition, they changed it.
Yeah, that's one of those changes Lucas made. That's why I want my theatrical release back.
That's right. That and the Ewok eyes.
They cut the scene where they were taking off of Yavin, and the wings were flapping like birds for in atmosphere.
Oh, I missed that one.
That scene was a big pile of magnets.
Oh, so we talked about this very briefly on the Discord. I keep plugging the Discord because that's where so many of our weekly conversations take place. You're practically getting previews of each show if you come hang out on the Discord. And again, you don't have to be a patron to come join us. So please do. If you want to hang out with us or other folks, just follow the link, jodocast.com. But we were talking about this earlier, and I'd said this was news to me because apparently I just wasn't following things closely enough. So I was surprised to see that the individual ships had gone from $15 to $20, like for your basic X-Wing, TIE Fighter, etc., not a big ship, $15 to $20. And I was kind of like, when did that happen? But I guess if some of the other components are they a little bit extra compared to what they were on first edition, and I guess with a new sculpt, if you said they might be a tiny bit bigger, more articulated. How are the paint jobs too? I guess is the other question. Does all that equal the extra $5? Not that when you're already spending this much on a hobby, that $5 is going to be the thing that's like, nope, I'm out.
Yeah, paint jobs definitely are mostly improved, I think, especially if you look at like the Wave 1 ships. Like, I mean, they were good, but they definitely got better. The quality of paint jobs definitely got better as the waves kept coming out. I think the only ship I don't really care for the newer paint job on is the
Slave one.
Yeah, the Slave one. I don't know. There's just something about it that doesn't appeal to me. I prefer the original Fire Sprays paint job.
It has that weird kind of, I don't want to call it matte because they should all be matte, but I don't know how else to describe it. It has that same sort of coloring to it that the Ghost had, that you kind of look at and you're like, it's not quite right. It doesn't really fit the look of the rest of them. Do you guys get that same feel looking at it, or not really at all? Am I just making things up? Apparently I'm making things up because I can't articulate the weird look that I think that it has that is similar to, or like the Lando Falcon, I think has that same thing going on.
I don't know about the Lando Falcon as much, but yeah, I really didn't like the paint job on the new Fire Spray. It kind of, the one thing that kind of stinks with the Lando Falcon, and this is one of those things that is going to vary from pack to pack. But one of my friends picked up one of the Lando Falcons, and the wash done on the escape pod, they must paint the two pieces up separately because the escape pod detaches from the rest of the ship. But the wash on the escape pod was like way heavier than the wash on the actual ship. So it looks kind of goofy when you have the escape pod docked. But like I said, I mean, that's one of those things that's just probably, it's the one he happened to grab off the shelf, and you could grab the next one off the shelf, and the two would look fine together.
Okay, so no complaints really about the different, slightly different price point per ship. I was asking about the other components that come with. I mean, they've got the upgrades are bigger cards. I don't know if that would be $5 worth or not, or if it's just part of the greater, each little improvement ticks it up a little bit, I guess.
Still not a fan of those upgrade cards, but whatever.
They have so much empty real estate. Do they look that bad in person?
They do look dumb, yes.
Okay.
I wonder if in 5 years they're gonna need all that space for stuff.
That's what we've been guessing since they first showed them to us, but it still seems weird. The old upgrade cards seemed fine.
Well, maybe when they start putting out alternate art cards of upgrades, they'll be full art upgrades, and that'll be kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It still seems like it wasn't my favorite decision that they made. And maybe in the long run they're actually saving money by being able to print them all on a more standard size card rather than the smaller ones. It could be.
Yeah, that could easily be too.
It kind of, the only thing I have that would be in favor of the big size, 'Cause I miss having the small ones because I'd always just stick the upgrades that belong to a ship in the same card sleeve as that pilot card. But since basically the left half of the card is just empty, you're kind of like expected to like tuck that under the ship, and then you tuck the next one under that upgrade, so they're all kind of overlapping in a little stack, and it's like some, you're like constructing your little ship and it's all connected, and something kind of feels fun about that, but that's about it.
And you're also kind of saving a little bit of table space too with that.
Well, you're not really, because it's still taking up the same amount of space as if you had just laid out the half-size cards out there.
Right, and the mini cards, you can stack them, one on top of the other, and I don't know. It doesn't bother me as much as it bothers you guys, but I miss the little ones.
Yeah, well, I'm always looking for things to be bothered by.
That's true. And I don't really have, like I said, a horse much in this race for the time being. It just makes me scratch my head and go, okay, sure.
I got some of the launch party alt art cards though. Those are really nice, actually. That is one area where they have actually improved the graphic design is with the alt art cards, the full art cards. The layouts they've designed for those, they keep getting better and better layouts than like the ones that came with like the first few OP kits and stuff like that were kind of those were really boring alt arts where it was just like, here's the exact same card, but it's just a picture from the movie.
I hated those.
So have either of you gotten to get much time with them yet?
Well, I got 3 matches because I played in the tournament on Saturday, which was 4 rounds, but I had a bye because I was the worst. So some of the things that I like a lot is the change to the turrets. There's just no automatic 360 turret, but the fact that you have to spend actions to rotate where your turret's pointing makes flying turret ships really difficult, and if they feel kind of inefficient. I like the design of the new dials.
Oh, the new dials are great.
I'm not going to use my dial upgrades anymore.
The new dials are one of the best things about 2.0, I think.
For those that haven't really gotten a good look at them, what's so great about them?
The biggest thing about it is the fact that the way they're designed now is when you're looking at your dial, as you're setting your maneuver, you can now see every single maneuver that your ship can take. You don't have to sit there and spin your whole dial if you can't remember what all the maneuvers your ship has. Now it's all right there. I know a lot of people actually used to save the little inserts that came inside each expansion that had the little chart that showed all the maneuvers each ship could do. I know there were lots of people who saved those, and like when they would go to play games, they would have all of those there, or they would have them all printed off in a document. I'm sure there will be still some people who will still do it, because I think people were also doing it so they could reference what possible maneuvers their opponents had and stuff too.
Right. Yeah, and for people like me, I don't plan on playing Scum or Empire. If I'm not playing those ships, I'm probably not going to know what they can do as well as somebody who actually
You'll have a good idea, but you won't have every maneuver memorized.
Yeah, but that's okay. I don't need to be pro. One thing I don't like is the upgrade cards for the bombs don't tell you the effect of the bomb. They didn't in the last game. There was like a little reference for it. this had how to deploy the bomb. But I was like, okay, maybe with all this giant real estate, they can have the rules for deployment and what effect it has and how it detonates, and that's still just sitting in the rules reference.
That's interesting.
But it did feel it felt good to play X-Wing again. It's been over a year since I played X-Wing.
Yeah, we've got our local launch party coming up on Sunday here. Actually, it's actually the launch party 2.0 because the store, they tried to have their original launch party the Saturday of launch weekend here, and 2 people came, and one of them was the person organizing the event. So they're gonna try and reschedule here and hopefully get more people this weekend. Yeah, X-Wing is just in general really died down big time in our local area.
It's weird. I remember. I mean, it was so big for so long.
Yeah, it was huge for quite a while there.
Has something flat out replaced it? Is it Destiny or is it?
No, not really. I mean, even Destiny only has. I mean, there's a group probably of between 6 and 10 of us who play fairly regularly. At the last store champs we had in town, we got like 20 players here for that, so that was actually not too bad. But
yeah, X-Wing is huge in Tucson.
Yeah, I mean, an X-Wing used to be like around town. We used to get, on a weekend, on a Saturday, whatever event, we could easily get 30 players at the store, no problem. Now the stores just don't even bother scheduling events anymore. Hell, one of the store actually where I ordered all my X-Wing, where I pre-ordered my X-Wing stuff from, like I said, they just gave me some of the launch kit alt art cards because they're not even gonna do a launch party because they're like nobody's gonna come. Why bother?
Wow.
That's sad.
Yeah, I mean, I think we get more people regularly playing Legion than we do X-Wing right now, but
I was about to suggest, are they not doing X-Wing because of Legion? Are they shifting their time and their resources towards that? Because
I mean, not really. I mean,
no?
Some of the people in my town playing Legion did also play X-Wing, but I mean, X-Wing had already basically been dead in town before Legion came out, so it's not really because of Legion. It's just I don't know. One of the store owners, he says that he just feels like our town is just no good for miniatures. But we do have 2 different game stores in town dedicated to pretty much all just miniatures gaming.
Yeah, I remember you having said that before. That's why I'm like, what?
In fact, one of them is an actual Games Workshop Warhammer store. So,
wow. Okay, well, I was going to ask you another question about if there's any like not problems with the game, but like little mechanical things that have crept up now that it's in the wild. But
there's problems with using the turret markers on the Ghost.
I guess that's the one that we were talking about. Just really quick, what's that about?
So you get like a little token that you can put on it goes on the peg of the ship, and you can spin it around to mark like which firing arc your turret is currently pointed at. But when they designed that, they forgot that the peg for the Ghost is enormous, and you can't actually use that token with the Ghost's flight stand.
Yeah.
Yes, as soon as you started describing the function of that turret, my first thought was, wait a minute, the stand is huge. How do they even think that was going to work?
I think they just
didn't.
kind of overlooked it, or were
All
like,
right.
people will figure it out, and it saves us having to design and print one unique token.
Because that's the
I'm
thing
sure
is
they'll fix that in the.
I can't believe that they had to have flown the ghost in playtesting and stuff.
Right.
So I can't believe that situation never came up during
That'll be
playtesting.
in the 2E Ghost expansion set.
Right. Because they're going to make a new edition of the Ghost, and it's going to look cooler. It's going to have a phantom that can eject, like, they've already done that with Lando's thing, and then I'm going to be like, I got to buy that, and I didn't need to, but now I have to.
There could be, maybe you will want to fly a list with two
No.
two ghosts in it.
No.
No, I don't.
It could happen.
I don't dig making kind of weird lists with those very unique ships. Like, you could technically fly a list with multiple of those escape pods from Lando's Falcon, but I never would because it's silly. You can make a list with like 3, phantoms, and like Zeb is flying one, and Fenrau's in the other, and Sabine is in the other one. I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me. I don't want to do it just because it's good. I'm not saying all of my lists are based purely around theme, but that's a line I don't feel like crossing. Also, Dash Rendar. I'll never fly him. That's a line I'll also never cross.
Oh, just wait. Apparently, he might be a thing again in Greater Star Wars. It remains to be seen. It could have just been like some canonical trolling on the part of a recent author, but yes, I don't think anyone's going to be running that anytime soon. Instead, they'll run what's his dingle from Iron Squadron.
No, Dash Rendar is in the game.
No, I know he is. I know he's in the game. I was talking about running
good, and I hate
canon versus legends.
Mart Matten. I assume he'll be the pilot included in whenever they reprint that ship, and it'll probably be designed after that one, which would be kind of cool.
So now the question that I had originally planned to ask was where we see each of us going with the game, but talking about our local communities, I guess where do you see everybody else going as well, not just us 3, because maybe all it takes is if people are gun shy about like getting into 2E when they were like, maybe they spent all that money on the first one, or they didn't really dig it too much and they didn't like having to buy everything. Maybe it just takes a little bit of time hearing that how the game is now, and then they dip their toe in and buy a conversion kit. Maybe time is all that various communities need to get back to a more active state.
I don't
know.
My community's already there. They were playing first edition up until, the week before second edition came out. Which is the veracity and of the local X-Men community is part of what made me like stop playing it so much after I moved here. I'm like, it's all too serious for me. But I'm going back in because, they're all fun to play with, at least so far.
Yeah, I don't know around here. I mean, it might re-energize the community, but like I said, the one store tried to have a launch party, and granted, they didn't really advertise or promote it all that well. It was just sort of one of those deals where a couple of us were like, hey, are you gonna do anything? And he was all like, oh yeah, I guess I'll make a Facebook event for it. And this was like 2 weeks or a week before launch. But still, only 2 people showed up. I mean, maybe we'll get a little bit better attendance this time. I don't know. We'll see. But at the same time, like, we have a local Facebook group for Star Wars games. Well, actually, and that's the thing, is it actually originally started as just a local X-Wing group. Then they kind of changed it to, X-Wing and Star Wars. They renamed the group. So it was just like, so that way we could talk about Imperial Assault and could talk about Armada and, whatever else is in Destiny and stuff as they kept coming out. Nobody really ever talks about X-Wing in the group anymore at all. And, like, nobody's been excited and been like, yeah, I can't wait to pick up the X-Wing 2.0 stuff and blah blah blah. And so I don't see it, at least in my area, really coming back. There's gonna be a small group of us who still play on occasion, but yeah, we're not. I don't think we're and then maybe still get a store champs or something every now and then, but man, I don't even know if we're gonna be seeing a regional in the area in the future, the way things are going.
They don't have regionals anymore. They're
what I mean.
Cups or something like that.
The hyperspace, hyperflight, hyper run.
I think that is the official name.
That's pretty close.
I'm excited to be playing X-Wing more regularly again. If there's going to be 2 leagues in town for at least... The one store has 2 locations. I think there's probably like a league and a scene at this different store, but apparently the 2 X-Wing communities at these different stores like are very cliquey and don't like mix. So, but the store that I do most of my games at, I think they're going to be starting a league that is going to be allegedly more casual, and if it's not like, because I think I don't know if it's true, it might be $10, but I thought I heard the other league at the other location for the same store is going to be like $30. Like, I think 15 would be pushing it for me if I want to do an X-Wing league, because I'm already doing Legion on a weekly basis, and I'd like to do both if I can, but not if it's going to be really expensive for me to, participate in a league. Otherwise, I'll just find people who want to play whenever.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny that you talk about how the 2 stores don't mix. Like,
well,
our like, at least with like Destiny here around town, we're the exact opposite. There's 2 stores in town that are actively supporting Destiny, and we all hop back and forth between both stores all the time because
that's nice.
We're just happy to have more places to play at.
Good for you.
No, that's cool because there's a lot of game stores in Tucson, and I only really go to one of them regularly because it's closest and it's a nice place to play, and the other one when I do Doomtown stuff or need something really specific for crafting. And they're both really nice, but I always just hear, like, all the stores in town just talk shit about all the other stores in town, and it's like, there's so many stores. And I don't know, it's strange, but the one store has 2 locations, and that seems to be where the bulk of the X-Wing community does their stuff. And that's where I spend most of my time, too.
And I guess just for us personally, if I get any to start, if I get any sometime soon, I will get 1 core, and then probably, well, I don't know, I feel like I'd need to wind up buying 1 Rebel conversion and 1 Imperial conversion, and then I feel like I'd probably be good because I have, for me, I feel like I have plenty of ships from 1E to use.
Yeah, I think for what you got, one kit of each is probably enough.
Yeah.
Just don't look at the Y-Wing, then. So it'd be like, oh, I don't need it, but I need it.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of extra Y-Wings, I never bought guns for hire. So the only scums that I have to fly are the original Fire Spray, the IG-2000 that Leo got me, a Y-Wing, and a Hawk. So that's not a good squad, but I suppose it's a squad. So I guess the scum kit would get me something usable out of that, I suppose.
I feel like you'd have a majority of cards and cardboard in that kit that would be completely useless to you.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. That's why I'm not really even thinking about it. Although, I will say that my store, all their 1E stuff, and they have a lot. I don't know about how your Star Wars are, but mine has a lot, and they are discounting it like crazy.
Oh yeah, that's what I won for getting last place in that tournament. I won a first edition core set.
Well, and it was the one with the
Force Awakens one
core set,
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
it?
And I have no intention of playing Resistance or First Order in this game, so I don't even need those ships. So it's just more dice, which I also don't need because I have too many dice.
Oh man, yeah, I'm gonna have so many freaking dice now. Now that I'm getting a third core set.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, maybe, yeah, no, fourth, because I think I bought 2 of the original core sets.
You'll just have to make a new mode, play a game, and the rule is anything, just double all dice values. Anything that determines how many dice you roll twice that many. But for both players, so it's even.
That could be interesting.
I think it would favor the attacker, because I think attack dice are statistically a little bit more reliable than defense dice.
Interesting. You should do a study on that. Do a paper.
For
your doctorate.
One of the reasons, amongst my desire to play more than one game, that I'll never be that good at X-Wing is I don't like reading stat breakdowns about dice probability. Just not into it.
Yeah,
That's a big part of being really good at X-Wing, is looking at all these like Excel charts of like, well, if I have this ship at this range and I roll these dice and I'm shooting at this, I'm likely to roll 3.5 evades, and I just don't care. I'll just figure out what feels right, and I'll make that call, and it's usually wrong, but I don't want to think that hard about it. I mean, I'll try.
That's why you
for
get
like
last place when you go to play an event.
for general situations, like in Legion, I'm like, well, is it better right now to, get to take an aim and shoot, or to move so I get some extra dice? Like, it's like, I wonder, like, this is a situation that's going to come up a lot. I wonder if it's statistically better to take this course of action over this one, but I mean, it was the big thing back in 1.0. Everyone just called it Math Wing.
So there's speaking of Legion, though, there is actually a really good blog out there called Never Tell Me the Odds for Star Wars Legion. And this guy, and that's what this guy does, is he just, he breaks down every unit and figures out what kind of expected numbers of hits you're supposed to get with dice. And
I'm not ragging on people who do that or enjoy that, because it's really valuable information, and it's like, good job for the people who figure that out. And if you want to be any sort of competitive, it's probably something you need to know. But
no, I know you weren't ragging on him. I'm just sort of, I guess, promoting that guy.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I'm like, ooh, I want to look
like
at how
his spreadsheets he has. He has
like, let's see how the
spreadsheets.
The stormtroopers compare to the rebel troopers, and how they compare if they're aimed, or how they compare if they're dodging, and all this stuff. And then after a while, I'm like, I've seen enough. It's cool, but apparently I don't have the attention span for it.
Leo, did you say what you're going to be sticking with or what you're going to be shooting for as far as staying with it or just get the bare minimum needed?
I mean, I bought my core set. I bought an Imperial conversion kit. Mm-hmm. I will probably buy... Eventually, I'll probably get a Rebel kit, a Scum kit, First Order Resistance kits.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with...
Just to have them. It's not like a priority for me to get the kits. I mean, in fact, I might not even get those until little ways down the road here, when the kits aren't such a priority anymore, and you can probably start to find those on a discount when stores are like, okay, we need to clear these off of shelves because we've already sold all the conversion kits that we're going to sell to people in our area.
I'm sticking with just Rebels until the Clone Wars stuff comes out. I plan on buying another Republic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I will very much enjoy getting those.
Yeah.
And I'll be I won't be surprised, but I kind of hope they make Anakin an Initiative 7, because 6 is the highest right now. But, I feel like Anakin in his prime should be the best pilot on the board. But, that might not work for gameplay purposes.
I still haven't decided what I'm going to do when that happens. I know I'll probably, because I'm sure they'll release another core set that has those two factions, and I'll probably buy one of those.
I wonder if they'll do a core for First Order.
So then I'll have even more dice.
I wish they had made the new dice, the defense dice, blue. They changed the green maneuvers to blue for the dials to be, friendly to people with color blindness.
Yeah.
I assume they kept the dice the same because you can still use your old dice. But, blue-green is defense, red is attack. Just make them blue, and then at least when I have all these superfluous dice, I'm like, at least they are, multicolored now.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just they decided not to do that also just because the dice have different symbols on them, so having the different colors is a little less important, maybe?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely going to be keeping it pretty casual with my X-Wing buying and X-Wing playing. All my finances are still going to be devoted towards Legion and Destiny for the foreseeable future.
Cool. Yeah, like I
Evan,
said.
Do you know if you have a local X-Wing scene? I know you've never really been that into it. But if you picked it up, sat down and shouted, "Somebody play X-Wing with me," how many people would crawl out of the holes and be like, "Oh, me"?
I can tell you, we absolutely do have a scene. At my other store, I guess my number 2 store that I sometimes go to, I went there to play Destiny on a Saturday when they had it on their calendar, and I sat there shuffling my deck, waiting for Destiny people to show up, and the place was filled with X-Wing people of all ages. That's about the only difference there was. It was all a bunch of white dudes of different ages playing X-Wing. And they were definitely high into the meta. Most of the things that they were fielding were I don't even really know what you're doing there. So I know that it exists around here. My main store, I don't know how much they're doing for X-Wing anymore. And then of course my friends in Muncie, they had a kickoff. They had a goodbye party, a goodbye day for first edition, and a kickoff day for second. They are definitely busy with that all the time. They really do all of them. I am amazed. But they've been trying to get me to drive up for L5R most recently. But yeah, it would not take any effort whatsoever for me to find X-Wing people. Which is good. It is. It's certainly not dead around here. I just haven't partaken.
Yeah, our area definitely seems to be an outlier with this game. It seems odd that Destiny is more popular than X-Wing around here.
Right? It's so weird to me because I remember buying X-Wing the day it came out there and just how that scene exploded, and it was just big up until I left, which was only like 2 years ago.
Yeah, and Destiny is kind of the opposite here. Like I'd asked my main store multiple times, like, so how about drafting? That's a thing now. New sets, get excited. And they were just like, yeah, we tried, and no interest. So have a box for $70. Okay. I don't know what to say about that.
Oh man, no, our in like a couple weeks here, our store is having a big 25th anniversary party, and one of the things they're doing for their anniversary celebration is they're throwing a huge Destiny tournament where, you know, like sometimes you'll have tournaments where, you know, first place wins a box of boosters or something. He's given boxes of boosters to the top 4.
Damn.
So each of the top 4 gets a box of boosters, and then the rest of the top 8, so places 5 through 8, all split. Each get half a box, so that's 2 more boxes. Plus, then all the rest of the places are going to get more and more. Are going to get packs then just based on your place and whatever the total attendance is and stuff. You'll kind of figure out pack distribution then, but it's going to be a crazy amount of product he's going to be giving away with this tournament.
That's nuts. Do you know what like the entrance fee is?
It is $25 entrance fee. So it's
so
not
less than Worlds. Less than Worlds, at least.
Yeah. So it's not the cheapest event to enter, but I mean that's the same cost as like if you were going to go to regionals or something like that. So.
Well, no. That sounds very reasonable to me with that kind of price support.
All right. Well, unless we had anything else, I think we're going to wrap up this discussion of X-Wing 2nd Edition.
Yeah.
It sounds like Leo is ready to go to bed. Or play more Overwatch. I can't tell. He makes the same sounds for both. Man, I can't imagine how you must have felt not being able to play any Overwatch while you were here.
It was rough.
Yeah, I bet.
No, I think we played enough other games to where I didn't. You took my mind off Overwatch for a little while.
Good.
Congratulations.
I'm glad I could do that.
I like you better than Overwatch, I guess.
Woohoo! All right, I win. Overwatch.
But
only
because there was no like special events going on at the time. Because you know, for some of these, it's like you want to log in and get your games in for the week and stuff, and yeah, it would have been if there was an event going on and I wasn't getting my games in to get my free loot crates and stuff. That would have been bad news.
Well, lucky for me. All right, well, if we don't have anything else, we will sign off. And thank you, Leo, for being here, and Joe for being here. The Avengers
And
have
Evan
finally
for
reassembled.
being here.
I guess thank me too. Sure, why not?
Thanks, Evan.
You're welcome. It's nice to feel appreciated, even if it's not sincere.
Hey.
And
I resent your doubt.
I'll never doubt you again. I promise.
That's not a good thing to promise either.
Oh, are you doubting my sincerity?
No, I am believing your sincerity that you will never doubt me, and I don't think that's a good way to live your life. I mean, not that I'm not trustworthy, I'm just saying you shouldn't have blind faith in things.
Perfect. The more you know. There you go. Life lessons. Knowing's half the battle. G.I. Joe. Goodbye.
G.I. Joe.
Thank you, listeners. Thank you, patrons. You're wonderful. Come, everybody,
I'm
say
a
hi on Discord.
computer.
Pork chop sandwiches.